Welcome back to the Sports News Analysis YouTube page, continuing our Week 14 NFL previews. What I do is I'll preview every game for you, between 4 and 6 minute previews. At the end, I'll condense all my picks into one shorter video for you. If you just want picks, be on the lookout for that. Catch me on Twitter at SNewsAnalysis. That's at SNewsAnalysis. Always on there talking sports. And check me out over there. Week 14, Chiefs at Browns. Both of these teams actually coming off wins last week. The Browns moved their record to 4-8 with their win last week. The Browns are a team, they're competitive in every game. We think that's a good sign for Pat Shurmur going forward. There was a thinking, now that Mike Holmgren is out in Cleveland, Shurmur is Holmgren's guy. What would new President Joe Banner do when he came in? Would he automatically just get rid of Pat Shurmur? We thought that would be the case, but now seeing how this team responds to Shurmur and how they're a young team getting better every week and has been in every game, we're not so sure about that. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out down the stretch. Brandon Weeden, you don't hear much about Brandon Weeden. You hear much about the other rookie quarterbacks, the RG3s, the Russell Wilsons, the Andrew Lucks. Brandon Weeden is having what we've come to know as a typical rookie season. He's had flashes of really good play. I don't think he's on as good a team as those other two guys. 13 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, sacked 21 times, going through some growing pains. But we think overall he's headed in the right direction. Maybe not as brilliant as RG3 or Andrew Luck, but certainly someone we feel can be a solid NFL quarterback heading forward. Trent Richardson, the numbers don't pop out at you. 3.6 yards per carry. I think the 44 catches he has, though, are impressive. Maybe at Alabama I didn't realize his prowess as a pass catcher, but he's definitely shown something in that area this year. But for Richardson, he's the kind of guy, he passes the eye test. They might not have all the pieces around him yet to fully complement his skill set in terms of an offensive line, in terms of outside threats to take the attention away from him. He's the focal point of every defense's game plan. 3.6 yards carry should get to the 1,000-yard mark for the season, which would be impressive for a rookie. And look, he's the bell cow there. He's the main guy. And from a fantasy perspective, that's something you're looking for. So if you got Trent Richardson, maybe took him a little bit earlier than you wanted to. If you're in a keeper league, think you got someone going forward, that's going to be a building block for at least minimum, barring injuries, the next 7-8 years. The Browns' defense is a solid unit. While the offense has struggled, turned the ball over probably more than they like, the offense kind of lacks the talent needed to win the NFL consistently. The defense has kept them in games via the turnover. 14 interceptions so far this year, so they're averaging a little bit over one interception a game. 29 sacks for the season. So they're a good young defense led by DeQuell Jacksons of the world, the Joe Haydens of the world. Playing very consistent. And again, we think the building blocks are in place for the Browns to get better here. They're in an extremely competitive division. We realize that. But the building blocks are in place. We think Joe Banner is a great personnel guy. He built all those teams in Philadelphia in the late 90s and into the 2000s. And one thing about those teams is they were deep and they were consistently good for a decade. So we think exciting things to come out in Cleveland. As far as the Chiefs go, the Chiefs sit at 2-10. One of those teams that is vying for the number one pick, quite frankly. They're coming off of a very emotional win last week versus the Carolina Panthers. Obviously, that's could maybe be perceived as a concern for this week, and who could blame them having an emotional letdown after all that team has been through. Brady Quinn's coming off of the best performance of his career, although he was only 19 of 23 for 200-plus yards. I believe at 205 yards, somewhere around there. For Brady Quinn, it's impressive. Look, when Brady Quinn lasted as long as he did, drafted by the Cleveland Browns, Ohio kid, lasted till later in the first round than anyone thought. As his career's kind of developed, you've sort of come to the conclusion that maybe the scouts are right and there's a reason he slipped towards the end of the first round. Was last week an aberration? Can he continue up the consistent play? With all the chances he's been given, this might be the last shot for him. So we're curious to see how he plays in a homecoming game for him, coming back to Cleveland, playing the Browns. As far as some other bright spots for the Chiefs here, Derek Johnson, solid linebacker. Has been a solid linebacker for a while now. A linebacker out of Texas. He's just a 97 tackles so far this season. He's an all-around good player, and sometimes we lose track of the good players on bad teams, but he's definitely one of them. Eric Berry, obviously the high draft pick safety out of Tennessee, having a solid year off of his injury last year. And one under-the-radar name, Justin Houston, outside linebacker out of Georgia, second year in the league, 10 sacks. 10 sacks for the Chiefs this year. So, again, just an under-the-radar player having a solid season on a bad team. The way we see this game unfolding, we think the Browns, again, they're getting better every week. Again, awful what the Chiefs have gone through for the last, starting last Saturday with the incident with Jovan Belcher, coming and playing out and playing a great inspired game on Sunday and getting the win. We just think all of this emotion catches up to the Chiefs. We think Brady Quinn going back home and playing against his former team, we think that actually works to his detriment in this game. The Browns are minus 4.5 in this game. They're 4.5-point favorites at home. We like the Browns to continue their good play. We like Trent Richardson to really showcase his abilities this week. Brandon Weeden will avoid the big mistake. And I like the Browns minus 4.5 at home against the 2-10 Chiefs. We'll be previewing the other Week 14 games, so definitely check those out here on the Sports News Analysis YouTube page. Again, at S News Analysis. That's at S News Analysis on Twitter. And hey, have a good day, and we'll catch you on our other previews. Thank you.